My boyfriend accompanied me to the emergency room at night because of my stomach pain, but before I could finish describing my symptoms, the doctor interrupted me dismissively. I told you last time, one person can't have 10 abortions. It was you who insisted on doing it even though I said it wasn't your boyfriend's child, and now you come to me. There's nothing I can do. At first, I denied it, but then I got angry and demanded to see her supervisor. But my boyfriend stopped me and instead pulled me into the examination room next door. I believe you're not that kind of person. The priority now is to get treated. We can file a complaint against her later. Before I could file a complaint, this medical experience went viral. My reputation was ruined. Under public ridicule and mockery, I developed depression and chose to end my life. After my death, the doctor apologized to me with tears in their eyes. I just wanted to help distract her from the pain. Who knew she'd take it so hard? Her boyfriend was heartbroken. Maybe she had a guilty conscience. You shouldn't blame yourself. When I opened my eyes again, I shook off my boyfriend's hand and dialed the emergency number. Hello, I've had 10 miscarriages without my knowledge. I suspect I've been drugged. The pain means it's working. Although abortion procedures are very common nowadays, they're not truly harmless. Right now it's just stomach pain. But there are more serious consequences waiting for you later. But you probably don't care about these things anyway. After all, from head to toe, the only thing about you that isn't flawed is your hair. Everything else is problematic. You must be used to it by now, right? The on-duty doctor, Ju Shintong, looked at me with utter disdain, but her expression completely changed when she turned to my boyfriend, Zheng Yunhao. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say she was flirting with him through her eyes. Almost instantly, I realized I had been reborn. This was exactly how it happened in my past life. When I had a severe bout of gastroenteritis and was in excruciating pain, Ju Shintong simply scanned my medical insurance code and started spouting nonsense, nearly infuriating me to death. I didn't make a scene on the spot because I was in a hurry to see the doctor, but the next day, Ju Shintong posted my consultation video online with blurred faces. Doctors these days really have it tough. She's had 10 abortions and still comes asking why her stomach hurts. It'd be weird if it didn't hurt. If you weren't there, you wouldn't believe how awful her expression was. Those who know would say I'm her doctor. Those who don't would think I'm one of those scumbags who got her pregnant and made her abort. Although Ju Shintong had pixelated me in her previous life, she still managed to identify me online, leading to widespread criticism. Despite my desperate attempts to explain, to clarify that I had always maintained my integrity and never engaged in the rumored activities, no one believed me. Everyone said, if you didn't do it, why did you run? You fled because the accusations hit home, and you couldn't face them. Exactly. If an innocent person were falsely accused, they'd definitely make a scene, protest, and file complaints. Fortunately, the doctor released this surveillance footage first. Otherwise they might have ended up blaming us instead. Because of this, I developed depression and ended up dying in a daze, too, perhaps because I've already experienced the despair and pain of death once. The current stomachache seems much more bearable now. I wasn't panicked at all. Instead, I pushed Zheng Yunhao's hand away and looked at Ju Shintong calmly, saying, Dr. Ju Shintong, right, may I ask if you were just joking earlier, or were you serious? Ju Shintong didn't expect me to remain so composed. She froze momentarily, but given her ability to spout nonsense without batting an eye, her mental fortitude was clearly exceptional. So she quickly nodded and said, of course, I'm a doctor. How could I possibly talk nonsense? I used to work in obstetrics and gynecology, but I've recently rotated to the emergency department. You and I are old acquaintances, so pretending not to know me won't work. Ju Shintong suddenly turned her gaze to Zheng Yunhao. Which number boyfriend of Xu Jingwen are you? I haven't seen you come with her before. She always has different men accompanying her to the hospital. Zheng Yunhao didn't answer, just gripped his thigh tightly, struggling not to burst out laughing. Last time when Ju Shintong spread rumors about me, he just pulled me away calmly as if nothing happened, saying he believed me. At that time I was touched, but now I just find it ridiculous. Of course he believed me after all. He and Ju Shintong knew better than anyone how innocent the first was. My expression remained calm, my tone completely unshaken. This is my boyfriend Zheng Yunhao. I've never had an abortion. let alone visited a gynecologist with another man. Ju Shintong looked rather enlightened. I get it now. Could this be your actual boyfriend? No wonder you're putting on an act here, pretending I was joking. Alright, Shu Jingwen was right, I was joking. She didn't have a miscarriage, it's gastroenteritis, appendicitis. Quick, let me order some tests for you to get treated. Although Ju Shintong sounded like she was helping to clarify things for me, her sarcastic tone made it obvious to anyone that she had no choice but to yield. 3. Ju Shintong handed me the completed examination form, but I still didn't leave. Instead, I stared into her eyes. A simple joke might not be enough, since you claim I've had 10 abortions. Then show me my medical records. If you can't produce them, I shook my own phone. Then I won't let this go. Ju Shintong's expression grew even more unpleasant. She slammed the table. What do you mean? Are you threatening me, planning to complain or report me? I admit I violated the rules by directly mentioning your condition, but I only did it out of concern for you. Your attitude makes it seem like I'm harming you. I ignored her and just continued to demand to see the medical records. Seeing Ju Shintong's dark expression, Zheng Yunhao also stopped smiling. Wen, stop messing around. It must be that someone looks a bit like you or has a similar name. So the doctor made a mistake. I believe you, and I know you. I know you're not that kind of person. We don't need to waste time here. Aren't you having stomach pain? Let's go see a doctor first. We can file a complaint against her later. Without thinking, I slapped Zheng Yunhao directly across the face. Are you even a man? Someone spreads rumors about me right in front of you, and your solution is to hide. Zheng Yunhao was stunned by my slap. Unable to utter a word, Ju Shintong was both heartbroken and furious. Clearly, you're the one who wronged your boyfriend. How dare you turn around and blame others here? I was going to spare you some dignity so you could keep living peacefully with your boyfriend. But since you refuse to accept kindness, then take a look. With that, Ju Shintong slammed the table and violently spun the computer screen around. As it turned toward me, I froze momentarily, because the screen was indeed densely covered with my medical records, every single one from the gynecology department, detailing either abortions or treatments. Judging by this, Ju Shintong wasn't lying. The liar was me. For, seeing my silence, Ju Shintong grew even more smug. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue. Weren't you so confident just now? Didn't you want me to provide evidence? Here they are. Solid proof, every single one being your medical records. Are you still going to deny it? Still going to claim they're fake? It's a shame there's no surveillance footage. Otherwise I could have shown it to your boyfriend. Let him see how you begged me before. How you pleaded with me to arrange your abortion. If it weren't for me, you'd be riddled with diseases by now. Where would you ever find such an outstanding boyfriend? As I stared at these medical records, it finally dawned on me. Today's events were no coincidence at all. Ju Shintong didn't meet me by coincidence and casually spread rumors on purpose, suddenly realizing that today's incident was actually premeditated. I only started having stomach pains after eating what Zheng Yunhao gave me, which clearly shows there was something wrong with the food, and this hospital is actually quite far from where I live. Yet Zheng Yunhao insisted it was bigger and he was more familiar with it, deliberately bringing me here, and Ju Shintong had long prepared an evidence chain proving that I had indeed come here for multiple abortions. No wonder in my previous life, when the incident blew up online, I begged Zheng Yunhao to testify for me, but he just looked troubled. Wen, you know I believe you, but if I were to explain, it would only make things worse. The best approach is to let it cool down. I'm only doing this for your own good. Alright then, we can go get married first. As long as we're married, that'll be the best proof. But after marriage, things didn't improve. I even started suffering from insomnia and loss of appetite. It wasn't until I went to the hospital that I found out I had developed depression. 5. Seeing my expression grow increasingly grim, Zheng Yunhao quickly crouched down. Wen, don't be scared or angry. I believe in you, even with these records. I still believe in you. The name Shu Jingwen isn't your exclusive property. Others can use it too. It must just be a coincidence of sharing the same name. As he spoke to this point, Zheng Yunhao flared up at Ju Shintong again. Was that language appropriate for a doctor? Don't you understand patient confidentiality? I'm going to file a complaint against you. Give me your supervisor's number right now. How dare you talk about my girlfriend like that? You won't get away with this. Ju Shintong rolled her eyes. No wonder Xu Jingwen acts so arrogantly. She's got a fool like you backing her up. Go ahead, file your complaint. Let's see exactly what I did wrong. The argument between the two grew louder, almost escalating into a physical fight. The commotion quickly drew the attention of many patients, as well as the hospital's duty supervisor. After briefly understanding the situation, Duty Supervisor Director Liu immediately apologized to me. I sincerely apologize, but right now, your health is the top priority. I will personally take you for a medical examination and provide treatment myself. We can discuss everything else after you've recovered, of course. This matter isn't just my responsibility to apologize for. Ju Shintong must also apologize. But Ju Shintong didn't apologize. Instead, she loudly defended herself to the onlookers, embellishing the incident with added details before finally breaking down in tears. Everyone, please judge for yourselves. I was just kindly advising Ms. Xu Jingwen not to keep having abortions. Did I really do something wrong? She brings different men with her every time she comes for treatment. How was I supposed to know if this person was her boyfriend or just a friend? You can't just demand an apology from the doctor without understanding the situation first. If that's how it is, who would dare to become a doctor in the future? 6. The onlookers were all patients, so naturally they trusted the doctor more. Thus, they all started blaming me, but I've heard worse insults and endured more disgusting online harassment, so these words really didn't affect me. However, my stomach was still hurting, so I didn't bother arguing and simply took out my phone. Everyone, stop arguing. I'm calling the police right now. As soon as I mentioned calling the police, Zheng Yunhao panicked. When? How can we involve the police in something like this? Look at all these people with their phones out. If you call the police, what will happen to your reputation? I've already said I believe you, and no matter what the truth turns out to be, it won't change how I feel about you. Isn't it enough that at least one person believes in you? Ju Shintong also felt somewhat frightened upon hearing about calling the police. You just want me to apologize, don't you? Why threaten people here? Fine, I'll apologize. I was wrong. It wasn't you who had 10 abortions, it was me. Okay, if that's still not enough, I'll suspend myself. No. I'll resign. I'll resign to take responsibility. Ju Shintong spoke with increasing grievance, tears streaming down her face incessantly. If I weren't the one being slandered and framed, I might have felt sorry for Ju Shintong myself and cursed me, the so-called troublesome patient, but I didn't say that. I gave Ju Shintong a weak smile. Dr. Ju, you've really misunderstood me. I didn't call the police because of you. Honestly, I'm truly grateful to you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have known about these things happening. Ju Shintong was stunned, even forgetting to cry. What are you talking about? If you're grateful to me, then why did you call the police? At that very moment, the emergency call connected. I didn't answer Ju Shintong, but instead spoke into the phone. Hello, officer. I'm at Ping'an Hospital. I just found out that I've had 10 abortions without my knowledge. I suspect I've been given some new type of memory-erasing drug. Please come quickly. 7. After these words were spoken, everyone froze. Even the onlookers who had just been standing outside the door calling me a slut were stunned. Ju Shintong wanted to say something but didn't know where to begin. I held Ju Shintong's hand, tears welling up in my eyes, and said, Dr. Ju, I'm truly sorry for misunderstanding you. At first, I really thought you were talking nonsense, but after seeing these records, I realize you're genuinely a good doctor. If it weren't for you, I might never have known in my lifetime. I wasn't pretending not to recognize you earlier. I genuinely felt like I didn't know you, but it's okay. Once the police arrive, everything will surely come to light. After speaking, I looked at Director Liu on duty again. Director, could you please arrange an examination for me? My stomach really hurts unbearably. I thought it was gastroenteritis before, but now I'm considering the possibility of uterine perforation, cysts, or even an ectopic pregnancy. Please, you've got to save me. Director Liu was afraid something might go wrong. He immediately took me for tests. Because it was handled urgently, the results came out quickly. It was just acute gastroenteritis, with absolutely no gynecological or infectious disease issues. Now everyone began to sense that something was off. so they didn't even examine her. I thought they had finished checking and this patient was causing trouble, coming to the hospital in the middle of the night in excruciating pain, only to be denied an examination, and then having someone bring up her miscarriage. Who wouldn't be furious? Now I'm starting to think there might be more to the miscarriage story because, if it were me, I wouldn't dare call the police. Seeing everyone starting to side with me, Ju Shintong couldn't even cry anymore and could only look helplessly at the dull Zhang Yunhao beside her. Zhang Yunhao quickly pulled me aside. The test results are out, and your symptoms have improved quite a bit. Let's hurry home and not make a scene here. Just as we were tugging at each other, the police arrived. 8. As soon as the police arrived, Zhang Yunhao immediately stepped forward. Officer, it's all a misunderstanding. My girlfriend came for a medical checkup and had a disagreement with the doctor, so she jokingly called the police. I know this isn't right, and I'll talk to her properly, but she's currently a patient after all. Please, could you speak to her a bit more gently? But the officer ignored Zhang Yunhao and walked straight towards me to get my side of the story. The female officer questioning me gently said, "Don't be afraid, you can tell us anything." My heart warmed. This was one of the few acts of kindness I'd received in both my lifetimes. Feeling somewhat aggrieved, I described the situation clearly in the simplest terms. The police took me for medical examinations, then collected all the medical records and documents, saying they would investigate. The matter was thus brought to a close, and my abdominal pain completely subsided. Zhang Yunhao followed cautiously behind me, but before we had taken more than a few steps, we heard Director Liu angrily scolding Ju Shintong. Ju Shintong, I'd really like to see what's going on inside your head. In the obstetrics and gynecology department, you gave attitude to patients coming in for abortions, and now in the emergency room, you're causing trouble. If you don't want to work here, get out sooner rather than later. This is a hospital, a place where patients should feel warmth, not somewhere for you to throw your spoiled princess tantrums. Ju Shintong ran off crying, leaving Zhang Yunhao, who had been following me, heartbroken as he stood there foolishly watching. I couldn't be bothered to keep up the act with Zhang Yunhao anymore, so I just drove away. After getting home, I took my medicine and fell into a deep sleep. My dreams were filled with memories from my past life, leaving me mentally exhausted by morning, more tired than if I hadn't slept at all. I thought I'd wake up feeling a bit clearer-headed, but when I picked up my phone, I realized I'd been dragged onto the hot search list again. This time, for all the wrong reasons. 9. This time is different from the last. Last time I trended, it was orchestrated by Ju Shintong and Zhang Yunhao, but this time, it's organic. Many bystanders uploaded footage of the incident online, so there was absolutely no blurring. Most netizens sided with me after watching the video. Putting myself in her shoes, I truly feel so desperate. If I went to see a doctor only to be slandered in front of my boyfriend, I definitely wouldn't be able to stay this calm. Without even conducting an examination, he directly claimed it was from multiple miscarriages. This doctor must be a miracle worker, not even needing to observe, listen, inquire, or feel the pulse. Am I the only one who saw the follow-up? The follow-up showed she went for tests. It was just gastroenteritis from eating something wrong. Absolutely not any gynecological issue. The situation escalated before I could even speak up. Ju Shintong directly registered an account and posted a resignation letter along with an apology video, looking haggard and tearful. This incident started because of me. It was my own failure to control my words, so I choose to resign voluntarily, hoping this matter can come to an end here. I apologize once again to MS, Xu Jingwen. As soon as Ju Shintong posted this video, whether she bought trolls herself or her acting was just that convincing, the online sentiment shifted significantly. Being a doctor is really tough. Although this doctor's tone wasn't great, it's clear they cared about the patient. It was only when the patient took out their phone to file a complaint that all this subsequent drama happened. People these days are like this, they'll complain about everything, big or small, as if there's some VIP. I find this hilarious. The patient initially swore they hadn't done anything, then turned pale when shown the medical records, and still had the audacity to call the police. Can't wait to see the authorities expose them. 10. And so, the two groups argued fiercely. A few days later, the police investigation results came out. Due to the extended timeline, The police could only confirm that the medical records were genuine. I had indeed visited the hospital, however, based on my blood test results, it couldn't be determined whether I had been drugged. The police also released my medical examination report. Although the report couldn't conclusively determine whether I had undergone an abortion, one point was clearly stated: based on my examination and results, my condition aligned with someone who had never given birth or undergone any intrauterine procedures. However, these results didn't make things any better. Instead, even more people sided with Ju Shintong. Everyone believed that my calling the police was shifting blame to cover up the truth. And the truth was that I had indeed performed those surgeries. The female police officer specifically sought me out privately. Due to the lack of blood test evidence and surveillance footage, we can't help you prove that you were drugged. However, you can request a copy of your medical records yourself. I believe you might discover some issues on your own. I was extremely grateful and also picked up on the implied meaning behind the officer's words. I had reported being drugged. But since there was no evidence of that, a case couldn't be filed. However, if I discovered other issues, I could still seek help from the police. Without delay, I hurried to the hospital to obtain a copy of my medical records, but Zheng Yunhao stopped me again. When, I know you've been wronged in this matter, but these things are all computer-operated now, and problems are inevitable. Why must you insist on getting to the bottom of it? I've thought it through. We can go get our marriage certificate first. Once we're married, everyone will know you're definitely innocent. After we get the marriage certificate, I'll take you to see a psychologist. 11. Looking at Zheng Yunhao's face full of heartache and deep affection, I only felt disgusted. If not for my experiences from my past life, I would surely have been moved by him. Because throughout all these years we've been together, he has always treated me exceptionally well. One could say he indulged my every whim. He claimed hired help didn't care properly, so he learned to cook himself, delivering meals to me every day for 365 days without repetition. I lack exercise, so my body aches here and there. He taught himself fitness and massage to help relieve my discomfort. But now I'm completely certain that my perfect 24 filial boyfriend actually has another white moonlight in his heart, and the only reason he's with me boils down to one word: money. I'm an orphan. My parents passed away early, leaving me nothing but a vast fortune. Precisely because I don't have parents, my concept of family is quite vague. Combined with seeing too many online news stories, I've decided to remain unmarried and child-free. Zheng Yunhao fully supports my decision. We're together for love, not for that piece of paper. As for children, I have even less say. If you want kids, I'll support you. If you don't want kids, I won't oppose it either. Yet such a wonderful boyfriend secretly conspired with Ju Shintong on this plan, hoping I would panic and marry Zheng Yunhao in desperation. I don't know what their original plan was. Did they want to drive me completely insane, have me locked up in a mental hospital so they could be together? Or did they simply want to inherit my assets and become a legitimate couple? I can't figure it out. But none of that matters anymore. I didn't agree to Zheng Yunhao's marriage proposal, but I did agree to his suggestion of seeing a psychologist. Just like in my previous life, through tests and examinations, I was diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety. The doctor initially wanted to hospitalize me, but Zheng Yunhao refused, insisting he would take good care of me and claiming the hospital environment wouldn't aid my recovery. That's why I returned home. 12. In the following days, I started taking the medication prescribed by the doctor, but the medicine didn't seem to help. On the contrary, my condition appeared to worsen progressively. As my condition worsened, I naturally couldn't respond. My silence, combined with Ju Shintong losing her job and starting daily live streams, led to my reputation deteriorating further. Almost like in my previous life, I became a public enemy, scorned by everyone. I couldn't leave the house, because whenever I stepped outside, people would point fingers at me, and some would even come up to ask, now that your reputation is so bad, have any of the men who got you pregnant come looking for you? I can't receive packages, because most of them aren't things I bought. They're sent by enthusiastic members of the public. There are black and white photos of me, blood-stained clothes, and all kinds of dead mice. I can't go online with my phone, because my contact information was doxed long ago. As soon as I turn it on, calls and messages from all over bombard me relentlessly. But fortunately, I have Zhang Yunhao. He shielded me from all the online abuse, allowing me to recover at home peacefully. However, my condition worsened, and the more severe it became, the happier Zhang Yunhao grew. He kept insisting on getting married, wanting to take care of me openly and legitimately. I thought the timing was about right and asked him to go back and fetch his ID card. As soon as he left, I turned around and registered an account, starting a live stream just like Zhu Xintong did, because this matter has gained significant attention. As soon as I started the live stream, many people rushed into Theto. Oh, still trying to turn the tables and falsely accuse me. Dr. Zhu, we're not mindless netizens. The police aren't siding with you. The medical records are clear and unambiguous. Do you think a few will work? It's precisely because of people like you who engage in medical disputes that some are reluctant to pursue medicine. 13. As the live stream audience grew larger and larger, I sighed and said, actually, the reason I haven't responded all this time isn't because I'm in the wrong. It's because I've been suffering from severe depression. I believe any girl who went through what I did would find it hard to act like nothing happened. I presented my depression diagnosis records. However, the netizens weren't buying it. Instead, they accused me of faking illness to emotionally manipulate them, and the backlash against me grew even fiercer. But this was exactly the effect I had hoped to achieve. When everyone was practically drowning me in their spit of fury, I pulled out the medical records I had secretly photocopied. I didn't say I have depression to gain sympathy. I just wanted to explain why I hadn't clarified things for so long. Actually, clearing this up would have been incredibly simple. As I spoke, I flipped open the medical records. This is my medical record. As you can see, the 5th abortion and the 6th abortion were performed less than 20 days apart. I'd like to ask everyone, how could I possibly be pregnant for 2 months within 20 days? And another thing, during the time of my first abortion, I was stranded abroad due to the pandemic. How could I have teleported back to the country to undergo an abortion? The last abortion is even more ridiculous. At that time, I was attending a wedding in my hometown. Here's a group photo from the wedding, and the timing coincidentally differs by just 1 minute, I said while laughing. Netizens also noticed something was off, because many of the miscarriages were simply impossible occurrences. If I could really do that, it probably wouldn't be a matter of miscarriage anymore. I'd likely be arrested for research, potentially making breakthroughs in teleportation. Seeing the barrage start to express doubts, I looked at the camera again and said, Dr. Zhu, you claim to know me. You say you personally performed every abortion on me. Can you tell me exactly how you did it? 14. Zhu Xintong naturally didn't dare to respond. However, the more she remained silent, the more suspicious netizens became. So one by one, they spontaneously went to Zhu Xintong's account to leave comments, cyberbullying her using the same methods they had previously used against me. Dr. Zhu, weren't you feeling wronged? Then speak up now. I'm not studying medicine, and I'd also like to know how someone can be 2 months pregnant in 20 days. Tell us something we don't know. This week, it seems the doctor and Xu Jingwen's boyfriend were each other's first love, as more and more people criticized Zhu Xintong. And she didn't have the same resilience as I do. She chose to delete her account and lay low. Who knows if this was her own idea or if Zheng Yunhao suggested it to her. But some things can't be resolved by running away. Not only were netizens pressing Zhu Xintong for answers, but the Medical Insurance Bureau also began investigating the matter. Actually, the investigation was very straightforward. It was simply insurance fraud. Zhu Xintong used to look down on Zheng Yunhao, but after Zheng Yunhao got together with me, his circumstances improved dramatically. However, Zhu Xintong didn't know that Zheng Yunhao's money came from me, so she immediately wanted to get back together with him. To be together again, she came up with the simplest method. Using her authority and Zheng Yunhao's help, she obtained my medical insurance code and deliberately used my card for surgical patients. Every time there was a similar patient, she would say cash payments could get a discount. So the patients transferred the money to her each time, while she settled the bills using my medical insurance code. Thinking I was wealthy, she prescribed the most expensive and best medications for every patient. Because of this, despite her bad temper, she had an excellent reputation. That's precisely why the hospital kept her employed all along. This also explains why the police investigation confirmed that I had indeed visited the hospital so many times. This time, I didn't need to call the police myself, because the case involved insurance fraud with a substantial sum. Ju Shintong was arrested immediately. 15. Right after the news broke about Ju Shintong's arrest, Zheng Yunhao showed up. It's only been a few days since I last kept an eye on you. How could you stir up such a big mess? I snorted coldly. What's the matter? Getting nervous? Zheng Yunhao looked somewhat awkward. All that nonsense online is just rumors. Ju Shintong and I are not some childhood sweethearts. At most, we were just classmates and friends before. You can't harm her just because of female rivalry. She's already lost her job because of you. Do you want her to lose her freedom because of you too? Hurry up and go testify for her. Say it was your idea to commit insurance fraud and she had nothing to do with it. Otherwise, with such a large amount involved, she could go to jail. How laughable that sounds. And I really did laugh. Zheng Yunhao, do you take me for a fool? Back at the hospital, your behavior was already suspicious. Instead of confronting me, you kept trying to avoid me. That's not how a normal person would act. When everyone was criticizing me, you didn't care at all. But now that it's Ju Shintong, you're suddenly in a hurry. And how did Ju Shintong get my medical insurance code? Can't we just be honest about it and stop pretending? Perhaps my expression was too contemptuous. Because Zheng Yunhao really couldn't hold back anymore. It's not what you think. I gave your medical insurance code to Shintong. And yes, she did use it. But she meant well. She didn't want those girls to be unable to afford surgery. You're a girl too. Shouldn't girls help each other? I've already looked into it. If you admit to insurance fraud, you won't get a heavy sentence. I'll wait for you outside until you're released. Others will still see you as a good person. Zheng Yunhao's argument sounded reasonable. I seemed tempted but let out a helpless sigh. What a pity. It's too late. Zheng Yunhao was puzzled. I pointed at the nearby camera, because I'm live streaming, and your words have just convicted Ju Shintong directly. In fact, you're even an accomplice. 16. Only then did Zheng Yunhao notice that the live stream had hundreds of thousands of viewers. Ironically, he had no idea earlier. And his words turned him from a boyfriend who stood by his girlfriend against rumors into a scumbag conspiring with his first love to manipulate his current partner. Zheng Yunhao was practically on his knees. He watched helplessly as Ju Shintong and I suffered online abuse, knowing better than anyone how vicious cyberbullying could be. So he frantically turned off my phone, ignoring my desperate pleas. To be honest, when I'm telling you everything, the truth is, I'm innocent. It was Ju Shintong who asked for your medical insurance code, saying she wanted to help me see what kind of person you really are, but after I gave it to her, she went silent until recently when she suddenly claimed to have found something and told me to take you to the hospital, even though I trusted you. I was also genuinely curious. That's why I agreed to take you to the hospital, but when I heard what Ju Shintong said, I realized she was lying, which is why I tried to get you out of there. You have to believe me. Does my thousands of acts of kindness towards you mean nothing compared to this one incident? I promise, I'll cut all ties with her. From now on, you'll be the only one in my life. Okay, Zheng Yunhao spoke earnestly, appearing genuinely sincere, yet I whispered softly in his ear, I'm well aware of what you're scheming. But don't worry, Ju Shintong's crimes are hers alone. Your sins are far greater than hers. Zheng Yunhao was stunned. What crime have I committed? I didn't answer, just smiled. What crimes you've committed, the police will tell you. It's not my duty to inform you. As the words fell, a group of police officers rushed in through the door and restrained Zheng Yunhao, who wore a look of utter confusion. 17. Zheng Yunhao struggled desperately. You've got the wrong person. I'm innocent. Ju Shintong's matter has nothing to do with me. You can't believe Xu Jingwen's words. She's mentally ill, genuinely mentally ill. I have proof. I personally accompanied her to the hospital for treatment. If you don't believe me, go check. This medical record is absolutely not fake. And I even have videos of her hospital visits on my phone. She can't deny it. I watched coldly as he tried to justify himself, waiting until he was exhausted before speaking. It's true I went to see a psychiatrist, but the doctor said my depression was normal and not severe, and also, I've already given the medicine the doctor prescribed me to the police. Zheng Yunhao was instantly rendered speechless upon hearing this. Wen, I don't have any ill intentions. You really need to hear me out. I just didn't want you to be troubled by these matters. That's why I added something to your medicine. I only wanted you to forget about these things. The police were utterly speechless. We detected lethal poison in the medication. Is your idea of doing what's best for her actually killing her? Fortunately, Ms. Xu Jingwen noticed it in time and didn't consume much. Otherwise she would have died long ago. Zheng Yunhao went mad the moment he heard the word poison. No, I didn't. What I put in was medication for mental illness. Definitely not poison. There must be some mistake. Wen, you have to believe me. I just want you to rely on me a little more. I love you, and I would never harm you. I'll confess everything. My goal was to have Wen suffer online harassment so I could marry you and get your money. But I really didn't do it. Zheng Yunhao vehemently denied the accusations but was still taken away by the police. 18. In court, Zhu Shintong and Zheng Yunhao turned on each other, shifting blame in every direction, a far cry from their previous life's image of deep affection and mutual devotion. But some things can't be resolved simply by denial. In the end, Zhu Shintong's insurance fraud was confirmed, due to the large sum involved, the negative impact, and her poor attitude toward admitting guilt. She was sentenced to 10 years. Zheng Yunhao was convicted of intentional murder for the poisoning incident and was directly sentenced to 20 years. Zheng Yunhao went mad, insisting he was innocent. It must have been Zhu Shintong. She was the one who drugged them. But the surveillance footage in my home clearly shows that Zheng Yunhao secretly switched my medication himself, and it had absolutely nothing to do with Zhu Shintong, even after everything was settled. Zheng Yunhao still refused to admit it. It's almost laughable. I actually trusted Zheng Yunhao because I was the one who put that substance in the medicine. After being reborn, I found it strange. I'm not the type to commit suicide, so why did my condition worsen the more I took the medicine, eventually driving me to take my own life? So I quickly realized there was something wrong with the medicine, but I didn't react. Instead, I decided to play along. What use were drugs meant to drive me insane? If we were going to play with pills, we might as well go big. Yet I didn't think I was being excessive, because compared to hating Zhu Shintong, what I truly despised was Zheng Yunhao. He was the one who should be held accountable for my death. After that incident, I never saw either of them again, but years later, I heard news about them. Zhu Shintong went insane not long after being imprisoned, while Zheng Yunhao was released on medical parole due to illness, but he still died after receiving treatment. Although I had long since moved on with my new life, hearing this news brought me immense satisfaction. That concludes the first story. Stay tuned for the next one. It gets even more exciting. The day after buying the car, my cousin insisted on borrowing it. We'll just use it as a wedding car and return it right after the ceremony. We're family. You wouldn't refuse such a small favor, would you? I never expected this car to be a one-way trip, considering the good relationship between our elders. I went to ask for the car back politely, but my cousin started yelling at me. You said I could use it. What do you mean by taking it back now? What's the rush? It's not like I won't pay you back. Once I save up enough to buy my new car, I'll definitely return yours. Seeing no hope of getting the car back, I took the spare key and drove it away under cover of night. Just as I started the engine, I slammed on the brakes in fright. A familiar face lay eerily beneath the front wheel, grinning at me. I laughed too. That night, a car drove onto the Binjiang Bridge, crashed through the railing, and plunged into the water. When my cousin came to borrow the car, I was extremely reluctant. The newly purchased SUV was something I'd saved up for 3 years just to make the down payment, considering we're family and quite close. My cousin's wedding was also a rare joyous occasion for our family. With the words, "We're all family, just borrow it for the wedding and return it." I obediently handed over my car keys. After attending the wedding, I eagerly went looking for my cousin. My cousin clinked glasses with me effortlessly. Had enough to eat and drink. "Little girl, you should head home early if you're free. Don't make your brother worry. I've eaten my fill. I'm about to drive back now." I spread my palm open, just about to reach out for the car keys. My cousin grabbed my hand and closed it shut. "There's no way I'm letting you pay for this yourself. Here." I'll find you a rideshare. My cousin craned his neck to look around, then pulled me forcefully into a Santana sedan. Uncle, could you do me a favor and drop my sister off at Red Sun Community? I hadn't even spoken yet when the stench of alcohol belches hit me in the face. Besides me in the back seat, there were two drunkards panting heavily. My hair stood on end, and I immediately wanted to get out of the car. Don't stand on ceremony with your brother, girl. My cousin blocked the car door outside. Signaling his uncle to hurry up and drive, I quickly grabbed the car window. Cousin, you haven't returned the car yet. I really need it for work tomorrow. My cousin waved his hand. What's true or false? You managed to get to work just fine without a car before. By the way, I'm treating some buddies to dinner tonight. Your car can fit 6 people, right? 6 people is way too many. Alright, I'll figure it out. He urged his uncle to start the Santana, then turned back with a grin to see the guests off. It was clearly their big day. Chasing after them to demand repayment would have been awkward. I decided to ask for the car back the next day. After all, the car was registered under my name. How could he not return it? I'm actually not close to this cousin of mine. Ever since childhood, he's always taken advantage of me. Today he'd swipe some snacks or toys from my house. Tomorrow he'd sweet-talk me out of my pocket money. After starting work, he would frequently ask to borrow money from me, always finding various excuses to delay repayment. Once, he even tried to trick me into being a loan guarantor. Fortunately, I discovered it in time and avoided being saddled with debt. But since our elders are close relatives who often interact, and my mother especially listens to my uncle's advice, so many things just couldn't be clearly accounted for. But no matter what, this is a brand new car, and also the first car in my life. I treasure it from the bottom of my heart. If it weren't for my uncle calling me 8 times a day to borrow it, how could I bear to part with it? I spent the whole night worrying about the lingering smell of new car leather, only to have it overpowered by the stench of smoke and alcohol. It was so unbearable that I barely slept a wink all night, dreaming of washing the car. At noon the next day, I swallowed my pride and knocked on my cousin's door. There was no response the whole time. Finally got through on the phone, alternating between navigation prompts and DJ dance music from my cousin's end. Hey, I'm driving on the highway right now. Your sister-in-law and I are striking while the iron's hot, taking our honeymoon trip. I couldn't believe it. You're taking my car for your honeymoon. Cousin stepped on the gas. Gotta say, driving a new car sure feels nice. Hey, you've got all the insurance covered, right? Just scraped some paint when reversing into a parked car by the roadside. But there's got worse. We drove off quick. How can you just drive away after scraping the car? What if the other driver holds you accountable? Hurry up and bring the car back. My cousin laughed it off casually. It's no big deal. What car doesn't go through some wear and tear? Consider it me taking it out to see the world. After the honeymoon, I'll pay to have it thoroughly cleaned. Problem solved. Is this really just about washing the car? I tried to stop them. My car has temporary plates. It can't leave the province. My cousin laughed heartily. Of course I know that. We're just planning a deep tour within the province. After all, we're considered a tourist city, aren't we? But, hey, enough talking. I'm driving here. Can't you see how inconsiderate you're being, kid? My sister-in-law's gentle voice chimed in from the side. Honey, that junker dared to cut us off. Step on it and pass them. Alright, if I don't teach this piece of junk a lesson, they'll really think they can push me around. Without even asking, they took my car for a joyride on the highway. They hung up on me without a second thought. I was left choking on my anger, unable to swallow it or spit it out. What is an in-depth provincial tour? Broke but still pretending to be rich, I silently reminded myself that marriage is a major life event, so I should just consider it as giving blessings. But I never expected. My cousin's honeymoon lasted half a month before we could meet, my new car and I could only reunite through his social media posts. As soon as I heard he was back, I rushed to his place. His wife cheerfully stuffed local delicacies into my hands, a pack of candy, a bag of cookies, 2 large bags of sunflower seeds, a slice of hawthorn cake. It's a bit heavy. Take your time eating it when you get back. This is all from your brother and me. The corner of my mouth twitched. Are you treating me like a beggar? Did they really think I didn't see their snack shop downstairs clearing out stock when I came up? You two can keep savoring it yourselves. I'm here today to pick up the car. The moment I asked for the car, the couple immediately lost their smiles. TSK, how petty. My sister-in-law rolled her eyes without hesitation. My cousin smacked his lips. Xiao Li, I'm not blaming you, but no wonder you can't get promoted. You've got zero emotional intelligence when you speak. I suppressed my speechlessness and forced myself to say, let's just speak frankly between us. The reason I bought this car was for commuting convenience. Now that my cousin's wedding is over, it's time to return the car to me. My cousin's wife stomped her foot, pouting. Hey. What's going on here? Are you Lin's trying to pull a bait and switch? Before I married into the family, it was promised we'd always have access to a car. That's why my parents agreed to the wedding. My cousin glared at me. See, I told you you're bad with words. Who doesn't want convenience? Isn't borrowing the car precisely for making life easier? He slammed the table. Besides, your cousin-in-law works across districts, and my company is in the suburbs. Which of us doesn't have a longer commute than your workplace? If you ask me, you're still young. Whatever difficulties you're facing, you'll get through them. It's me and your sister-in-law who really need it urgently. This was simply unreasonable. My expression turned cold as well. I don't care about your marital issues. This is my car. Give me back the keys. I'm taking it home today. Fine. So you Lins are ganging up to bully me, is that it? My cousin's wife plopped down on the floor and started wiping her tears. Lindau, give me a straight answer today. Can we still use this car or not? If not, I'll pack up and go back to my parents' house right now. At worst, we'll get divorced. Seeing that he couldn't calm his wife down, my cousin turned and started cursing at me. Xiao Li, are you deliberately trying to ruin my family's happiness? If no one wants you, don't come and mess with me. Let me tell you today, you're not taking this car away. How could someone be so shameless? My head is buzzing. It's a car I bought with my own money. Why can't I take it away? You promised to pay back right after the wedding. How dare you go back on your word and act tough with me? I was furious, but my cousin rolled his eyes and put on a smile again. Hey now, is it really that serious? Look at you, getting all red-faced and worked up over family matters. He cleared his throat. I told you I borrowed it, and I'll definitely pay you back. He rubbed his hands together. But look, your sister-in-law is still crying. It's our wedding. You wouldn't really force us to divorce, would you? He patted his chest. Trust me this once. I'm also planning to buy a car. Once I get my new car, I'll return yours immediately. Seeing that I remained silent, my cousin brought up old matters again. Don't forget who worked tirelessly to help when your mom was hospitalized. Back then, it was entirely thanks to our family running around taking care of things. One should repay kindness. You owe me this much at least. He brought up my mother's hospitalization again, and I couldn't bring myself to get angry anymore. At that time, my mother suddenly fell seriously ill, but I happened to be away on a business trip working on an important project. As the core member of the team, I couldn't just walk away. Fortunately, my cousin and uncle took care of her at the hospital, and I naturally owe them for that. After returning from my business trip, I bought many high-end local specialties and sent them over. Later, when my aunt fell ill, I specifically rearranged my shifts to take care of her for a few days. I also gave my aunt a substantial red envelope. Later, I pulled some strings and paid out of my own pocket to help my cousin secure his current job. To be honest, I've given quite a lot myself. But how can you ever calculate favors and social debts clearly? My cousin keeps bringing up past hospital visits as if they were favors owed. Thinking about how Mom has always been so meek and submissive toward Uncle, I couldn't bring myself to be tough anymore. This is the last time. Consider it my final act of respect for this family bond. Seeing my stance soften, my cousin patted my shoulder with a smile. Had a change of heart. We're family after all. There's no point in splitting hairs over what's yours and mine. Listen to me, your car will be back with you in no more than half a month. Moved by his words, we're family and the past bonds between our elders, I agreed once again. But a month later, my cousin still showed no intention of returning the car. Every time I called, he'd bring up his hospitalization. This is driving me crazy. When my mother was hospitalized, I did everything I could to repay the help we received. I've contributed my time, effort, and money to his family as well. Does this debt of gratitude have to hang over me for the rest of my life? Besides, the down payment for this car was saved up through my frugal living. and the car loan is something I'll be paying off for a long time. How could it just become his private car? The more I thought about it, the angrier I got, and I was determined to go and demand the car back. Seeing my firm stance, my cousin also raised his voice. Xiao Li, I'm putting it straight today. I'm used to this car and I'm keeping it. If you want one, go buy another yourself. Before I could even argue, he shoved me out of the neighborhood. Furious, I snapped, if that's how you want to play it, we'll settle this in court. My cousin snorted coldly from across the neighborhood gate. You still dare to take me to court? Forget about whether folks back home will laugh at you. Aren't you afraid your parents will be gossiped about and end up in the hospital because of you? That's blatant threat and curse from him, to seize my car. He's completely shameless, watching him swagger back home right before my eyes. I simply can't swallow this insult. I'd rather not waste time arguing with someone like him in court. I prefer taking shortcuts. If the open approach doesn't work, then we'll resort to covert methods. That night, I sneaked into my cousin's underground parking garage under cover of darkness, unlocked the car with the spare key. After 2 months, I finally sat in my car again. Looking at the completely altered interior and the lingering smell of smoke inside, I was both angry and heartbroken. The seatbelt was actually tangled with torn stockings. Upon closer inspection, there appeared to be small scab-like white spots. What a pair of sluts! Who allowed them to do such things in my car? My temples were throbbing with anger. I started the car immediately. Right now, I had to go wash the car first. My mind was completely occupied with thoughts of deep cleaning. The wheels had just begun to turn when 2 dark figures flashed before my eyes. It was like a midnight horror. Startled, I slammed on the brakes. A pair of large hands pressed down on my car's hood. It's my cousin Lin Dao. He glared at me with a sinister look. All right, you dare to play dirty tricks with me? He gestured toward the ground with his chin. Go ahead and hit me if you dare. I'll turn your brand new car into a hearse. I got out of the car to take a look. Lying right in front of the car was my aunt, who had just been discharged from the hospital after suffering a cerebral hemorrhage and could barely hold her crutches steady. Are you out of your mind? Are you treating your own mother's life as a joke? Seeing me stunned, my cousin laughed. It's all because you pushed me to this. Unless someone dies, don't even think about driving the car away. Here we go again. I absolutely hate being threatened. Just had to run into this shameless, unscrupulous relative. Can't possibly let him threaten me with such dirty tricks for the rest of my life. Right, I clenched my fists to psych myself up. Squatting on the ground, I grabbed Auntie's arms and tried to pull her up. The ground is dirty and cold. Old man, get up quickly and stop causing trouble here. Aunt couldn't even speak clearly, yet she still knew she had to support her son. She was babbling nonsense and struggling, refusing to cooperate. I crouched down, intending to pick Aunt up. By the dim light of the underground garage, I saw a dark figure silently approaching from behind. The figure raised its arm, gripping a thick iron rod. It was swinging straight toward the back of my head. For the sake of a car, was he really willing to kill? What a lunatic! Suppressing my pounding heart, I spoke loudly to my aunt lying on the ground. Auntie, I've decided to let my cousin use the car. I saw the dark figure on the ground freeze mid-motion. I'll continue adding. I drove here this time actually to buy car insurance. Getting insurance for a new car is such a hassle. You have to drive it somewhere to take photos. Otherwise, why would I be making this trip late at night? Is that so? My cousin was half convinced, half doubting. After all, their family had never owned a car. So how could they understand the intricacies of insurance? Seeing that Shadow no longer had that stick in hand, I quietly breathed a sigh of relief. Forcing a smile, I finally turned my head. Cousin, when have I ever lied to you? I pretended to compromise. After thinking it over, we're family who love and care for each other. How could we let a car come between us? You and sister-in-law should drive it without worry. I can always take the bus to work, at worst. I'll save up for a couple years and buy myself a used car later. My cousin was satisfied. Exactly. At least you're sensible. A girl should learn to endure hardships. But I pointed at the scratches on the front of the car. You see, bumps and scrapes are unavoidable when driving. How can you not get good insurance? Here's what we'll do. After I go back and buy the insurance, you can come drive anytime. Cousin refused to let go. What if you don't return the car? I glanced at my aunt. Didn't we say we're as close as family? Why don't you trust me? Besides, Auntie's move is so impressive. How would I dare not give you the car? Speaking of which, buying insurance costs a fortune. If it weren't for remembering the kindness shown during my hospitalization, I really wouldn't be willing to spend it. Upon hearing this, my aunt gave me a proud glance. My cousin also laughed, kicking the iron rod aside right in front of me. All right, I'll give you just 3 days. After 3 days, I'll come to you for the car. If you dare to play any tricks, don't blame me for being impolite. I nodded with a silly grin. After leaving the garage, I headed straight to the car wash. While washing the car, the shop owner pointed at the floor mat in the driver's seat and said, "You don't have secured floor mats. That's not safe." "What?" the boss patiently explained. "These unsecured floor mats can easily shift, and yours is even the multi-layer thickened version, while the passenger side feels soft and comfortable. If the driver's side shifts, there's a risk of it getting stuck under the brake pedal. I recommend switching to ones that can be secured." I stared at the rose-pink heart-shaped floor mats in the front row. This was obviously bought by my sister-in-law. Only cares about looks, not safety. The boss tentatively asked me, "Do you want to change it now? I have ready-made floor mats at home, guaranteed to be safe and cheap." I smiled and said, "You make a valid point. I'll think it over." The matter of the floor mat planted a seed in my mind. After washing the car, I immediately found another auto shop that same night. Once the new car key was configured, I promptly had a professional deactivate the old key. This way, the car key in my cousin's hand would become completely invalid. The next day, the expensive insurance I bought for the car came into effect. This serves as a backup plan. It would be best if Lin Dao could retreat in the face of difficulties. If he goes crazy and acts recklessly, at least I'll have some protection. After parking the car in the spot that day, I bent down to carefully adjust the position of the floor mat. I harbor no ill intentions toward others, but if someone crosses me, don't blame me for being ruthless. Early on the third morning, Lin Dao started banging loudly on the door. "Xiao Li, open the door." I didn't dare to open it at all. "Just say what you need to. I'm not up yet, so it's not convenient to open the door." "Why can't the car key start the car? Did you tamper with something?" "He's already been to the garage. It was impossible to keep this hidden anyway, so I spoke through the door. When I took the car for repairs, I replaced it with the latest technology car key. Your old key won't work anymore. How dare you change the car keys? Hurry up and give me one." "Can't do that. You won't be driving this car for now." "Why?" I mimicked his old tactics. "My job location changed, and I need the car more often lately. We're family. You wouldn't refuse to understand, would you?" My cousin suddenly got anxious. "That won't do. I already promised your sister-in-law I'd take her mother and younger sisters out. Hurry up and give me the keys." He'll torment his own sister without hesitation, yet he's eager to show off for other people's sisters. I rolled my eyes through the door. The tone remained gentle. "Oh dear cousin, don't be so impatient. I've already promised to lend you the car. It's just a few days later. To save up for buying another new car, you should support my work too, right?" The cousin fiercely kicked the door several times. "Stop playing dumb with me. Don't think hiding from me will solve everything. Just you wait." I never expected someone like him to have a conscience anyway. That night, the knocking on the door came again. My parents and I stared at each other through the peephole. As soon as the door opened, my cousin and uncle, hiding in the corner, rushed into the house ahead of everyone. Mom looked embarrassed. "Your cousin and uncle insisted on coming to see you and wouldn't let me tell you in advance." Dad also looked grim. "Your cousin came to our house early in the morning to block the door, watching us to prevent any phone calls. What exactly is he trying to do?" I hadn't even complained to my parents yet, but he's already full of crooked ideas. "What are you looking for me for again?" "I told you, I can't lend you the car for now." My cousin raised his eyebrows. "You're overthinking it. Today's just about getting both families together. After the wedding, it's only right I treat you all to a meal." He slapped the 4 bottles of baijiu my uncle was carrying onto the dining table. "Today we'll feast in your little apartment. No one leaves sober. The wedding was 2 months ago, and now he thinks of hosting a banquet. I think it's just a trap, knowing full well our family rarely drinks, yet he brought 4 bottles. What does he want to do? Trying to get us drunk?" My cousin's eyes were darting around my house, clearly searching for something. What he wanted was the car. At the moment, I wasn't willing to lend it, and he couldn't drive it away. What else can be done? Suddenly, it dawned on me, he's trying to steal the car keys. 10 minutes later, my cousin's wife arrived carrying 2 large bags of cold dishes. An inevitable drinking session was about to begin. My cousin kept scanning every corner of my house searching for the car keys. My cousin's wife couldn't take her eyes off my coat rack and jewelry cabinet. The greed in the couple's eyes was completely undisguised. I discreetly glanced at the surveillance camera I'd deliberately hidden. Rather than enduring their endless harassment, I decided to step into the game myself. Isn't it just drinking? Haven't I drunk enough for work-related socializing over these years, trying to get me drunk? They'll have to bear the consequences too. Seeing I didn't object, uncle and cousin pressed their hands on my parents' shoulders, enthusiastically urging our family of 3 forward. Don't just eat, have a drink. It's a great day today. Let's toast. Let's toast again to Xiaoli's career success and her new car. Speaking of which, I haven't even touched a car key yet. Xiaoli, why don't you show uncle what your car key looks like? It's here. I smiled and locked eyes with uncle. For a car key, how absurd to even bring it up. I played along, feigning drunkenness. You uncle, I don't know where the car keys are. You silly child, how could you misplace the car keys? Let me help you look for them. I grabbed my uncle's arm as he stood up. But this is a girl's dormitory. You can't just rummage around as a grown man. My cousin held down my uncle and made him sit. Then he poured a full glass of baijiu and handed it to me. I see Xiaoli still isn't drunk yet. Hurry up and drink some more. Seeing that I didn't take the glass, my cousin turned around and poured an even larger glass for my dad. Since my cousin can't drink, then dad will drink on her behalf. Back when she was hospitalized, I put in a lot of effort. You wouldn't be ungrateful, would you? Dad is an honest man. By now, his face was already flushed from drinking. Hearing these words, he gritted his teeth, took the glass, and downed it in one go. I quickly snatched the wine glass. My dad has high blood pressure, so I'll drink this for him. My cousin smiled approvingly, seizing the opportunity. I also poured a full glass and pushed it over. We said no going home until we're drunk. How can we just let uncle and sis-in-law drink? Bro, if you don't join in, that's just not cool. Cousin held his glass without moving. I came prepared, putting on my best tips-a-drunk persuasion act. Tell you what, for every drink you finish, you can ask me one question. Guaranteed honest answers. My cousin's eyes lit up, and he immediately downed the glass of wine. Where are the car keys? How utterly shameless. I slurred my words. At my place. Where in your place? That's the second question. I grinned and poured him another big glass. Next, I answered countless times about the car key issue, going back and forth. In the house, super hidden spot, right inside a box. Countless vague answers barely pointed to one location. When my cousin's eyes grew hazy from alcohol. My cousin's wife and uncle teamed up early on to get my parents so drunk they were vomiting violently in the bathroom. The elderly couple couldn't handle their liquor and collapsed on the floor. Only after confirming they had simply passed out from drinking did I feel relieved enough to pass out beside them. Cousin, Xiaoli, of course. I didn't respond. The room fell silent for a moment. My cousin signaled his wife to quickly check the master bedroom closet. Go through the closet carefully. I'll take care of the nightstand. The couple rummaged roughly through the master bedroom's drawers and cabinets. I quietly squinted my eyes to peek into the master bedroom. The car keys were indeed placed inside the closet. Besides that, there were also my gold necklace and a stack of cash. While my cousin and his wife were rummaging through my house, my uncle staggered around my parents who had collapsed on the floor. Don't you see how foolish you are? A daughter will belong to someone else's family sooner or later. Of course, the car should be given to our Lindau. Only sons can provide for you in old age. What does a girl need a car for? Taking the car away today is actually for your own good. Don't worry, Lindau will be like a son to you in the future. And he'll take care of you in your old age. I held back my disgust. No wonder Uncle's family had been secretly persuading Mom and Dad like this all along. No wonder Mom looked at me strangely after they accompanied her at the hospital last time. Got the car keys. Let's hurry and go. Big haul. Honey, look, how beautiful are my necklace and rings. My cousin and his wife rushed out of the master bedroom, shouting excitedly with joy on their faces. Let's hurry and drive the car home. And these gold bracelets and necklaces, we'll sell them at the gold shop tomorrow. They grabbed my uncle, who was spinning in place, and headed straight for the door. Right now, all three of them have had quite a bit to drink. They can't even walk in a straight line, so how could they possibly drive? Besides, his cousin is the only driver in their family. Is he really planning to drive under the influence? It's already past midnight, and there aren't many cars on the road anyway. But they had to cross the bridge on their way home. The doormat hadn't been replaced either. My reason and anger were intertwined, with blood and alcohol surging through me. I suddenly stood up, stumbling towards the toilet, the sound of vomiting mixed with violent coughing. I couldn't care about anything else at that moment, only hearing the conversation between my uncle and cousin behind me. Will she choke to death if she keeps vomiting like this? If she chokes to death, it's her own bad luck. Can't blame us, that's true. If she dies on her own, it'll save us the trouble of arguing about the car. Let's get out of here quickly, before anything happens that they can pin on us. The door slammed shut with a bang. The world suddenly fell silent. I propped myself up and splashed cold water on my face. Then I helped both my parents to bed, cleaned them up, and tucked them in. I surveyed the mess left behind in my ransacked home. I dialed the number I knew by heart on the communication interface. Hello, I'd like to report a crime. It wasn't until my cousin and his two companions had circled the underground garage that they finally spotted my car. The three of them climbed onto the car using both hands and feet. Under the influence of alcohol, they appeared particularly excited. Go, 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 let's get moving. The young lady has arrived. Everyone make way. Watch me dominate the road. The parking garage barrier lifted, and my cousin stomped on the accelerator. He hit 120 kilometers per hour as we shot onto the road. In the dead of night, the streets were completely empty. My cousin kept accelerating wildly, belting out songs at the top of his lungs. I want to fly higher tilde. Before his eyes were countless overlapping streetlights. How could he still make out the traffic signals? He drove unimpeded all the way, straight onto the bridge. A section of the bridge's midsection was under repair due to a traffic accident a couple of days ago. Under normal circumstances, Lindau might have noticed. But now, dizzy and blurred from alcohol, he was driving purely on instinct. The reflective traffic cones ahead looked no different to him than stars in the sky, singing loudly as he charged toward the barricade at the midpoint of the bridge. He suddenly realized something was wrong. Lindau hastily slammed on the brakes. But he found he couldn't press them down. Frantically shifting his feet back and forth, he only succeeded in bunching up the crumpled floor mat beneath the brake pedal. Thinking about driving on the road, he only stepped on the accelerator and never touched the brake. Lindau broke out in a cold sweat. At that moment, most of his drunkenness faded. He desperately turned the steering wheel, cranking it all the way to avoid collision. He forgot his speed had already reached its peak. The speeding car hit the barrier during a sharp turn. The out-of-control vehicle headed straight for the railing on one side of the bridge. With tires spinning wildly, the car broke through the railing, soared over the bridge, and plunged into the water. It's over. It's over. I don't want to die. Ah, so romantic. Honey, are you taking me for a swim in the sea? Early the next morning, I received news that Lindau's family had been recovered from the river after drowning. Thanks to your timely call to the police, otherwise the consequences would have been unimaginable. After hanging up the phone with the police station, I explained what had happened to my now sober parents. Last night's police report was both punishment for the Lindau family and a struggle with my own conscience. They could disregard my life, but I couldn't bear the weight of a human life on my conscience for the rest of my days. My parents remained silent for a long time after learning the truth. Mom sighed. Anyway, let's go to the hospital first. When our family of three arrived at the hospital, the ward was bustling with activity. Reporters from various media outlets crowded around the hospital room, eager to interview those involved in the accident. Could you tell us what happened last night? We heard the driver had been drinking. Is that true? After such a tragedy, do you have any insights your family would like to share with the public? No one responded to the reporters' questions. The cousin's wife, her face half covered, cried and wailed, regretting ever marrying into the family. The aunt, barely able to speak coherently, held her uncle, whose arms were broken, and wept heart-wrenchingly. Lindau was angrily shouting at the doctor. Who gave you permission to amputate me? And you dare ask us for medical fees, I'm going to report you. I'll have you amputated too." Amidst all this chaos, my eyes met Lindao's. Lindao's eyes were filled with hatred. "It's all your fault. Your damn car ruined me." What a false accusation. I politely asked all the reporters to leave, then I turned around and glared at him. "Lindao, your family broke into my home and damaged my new car. I've already called the police. Do you dare call the police? Xiaoli, we're family. You can't do this." Now uncle starts panicking. Too late. I have no expression on my face. "Why can't I call the police? You forced your way in and got me drunk first, then stole my valuables." "Of course you deserve legal punishment," uncle yelled at mom. "You're just letting Xiaoli do whatever she wants. I'm your own brother. How dare you defy me like this? This really cracked me up. What era are you living in? Still pulling the eldest brother is like a father card, if you've got the guts. Go lecture the police about filial piety." Uncle stared intently at mom. "Your daughter is completely ruined. I want to hear you say it. Our parents' spirits are watching from heaven. You need to go withdraw the case at the police station immediately." Both dad and I kept our eyes on mom. After all, uncle was her flesh and blood older brother. I won't force her to make a choice. At worst, I'll bear the blame for upholding justice at the expense of family ties. Cousin's gaze was also fixed on mom. "Auntie, remember how close you've been to me since I was little. That's why I went to the hospital to take care of you. What say does a daughter destined to marry out have? This family is yours to rule. Just protect me this once, and I'll be like half a son to you from now on." Here we go again. It's just a handle underneath. "Do you really think you're the crown prince?" I stayed silent, just watching as mom hesitated and walked toward me. Mother held my hand, and my heart couldn't help but tighten. "Auntie, you should teach Xiaoli a proper lesson. She's being utterly unreasonable." "Exactly. How dare a little girl try to boss us around and bully us? Slap her twice for me." Uncle and cousin looked smug. Mom patted the back of my hand. "It's my fault for being confused and making you suffer." She turned around, straightened her back, and looked at my uncle. "Get lost. You've always bullied me with that favoritism toward sons rhetoric since childhood. I let it slide before, but now you dare to bully my daughter too, with mom and dad watching from heaven. I'm putting my foot down today. I will absolutely pursue justice for how you've bullied my daughter." Uncle was incredulous. "What nonsense are you spouting? We're bound by blood, thicker than water." Mom sneered. "Bullshit about blood being thicker than water. The biggest regret of my life is sharing the same womb with you. A scumbag like you could only raise little brats who harm society. My daughter told me, what you stole is enough to land you in jail. Just wait and see." Mom grabbed hold of both dad and me. "Let's go. We're heading to the police station right now to demand justice." I stood frozen, being pulled out of the ward by my mother. All I could hear were the continuous wails of my cousin's wife from inside the ward. "I must have had the worst luck in 8 lifetimes to marry into your family. I want a divorce. You owe me medical expenses, cosmetic surgery fees, compensation for emotional distress, with their parents' support." The theft incident was quickly resolved. With both witnesses and material evidence present, everything was recorded by the surveillance that day. After being discharged from the hospital, Lindao was forced to proceed with the divorce first. Shortly after, all 3 of them were sentenced and imprisoned, overnight. My aunt lost her dearest kin. Overwhelmed by grief, she fell gravely ill once more. This time, there was no one left to tend to her bedside with care. From then on, she had to endure the torment alone. One wonders if, in those endless days, she ever regretted that moment she threw herself beneath my wheels. Anyway, I've completely moved on. The several expensive car insurance policies I bought back then played a crucial role. After the insurance payout, I bought a new car. From now on, I won't have to suffer the hassle of crowded buses during my daily commute. No need to endure hardships through wind and rain. I give my all to live well in the present moment. Never again will I torment myself over saving face. I can confidently say no to any request from anyone. No, don't want, disagree. What do other people's gossip have to do with me? Those who dare to make things difficult for me, what kind of good people could they be? I'm living more freely and unrestrained than ever. My relationship with my parents has become even closer because of this. When the whole family pulls together, everything becomes smooth sailing. I am content with everything I have right now. From now on, every day will be the happiest time of my life. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. See you in the next video.